After my exhilarating adventure in Shenzhen, the vibrant city that thrummed with a rhythm all its own, I felt an insatiable urge to delve deeper as the reflections shimmered across the lake, the stories told by the performers intertwined with my own, my search for magic, for connection in a world often too busy to pause. Each day unfolded with new chapters, but soon I knew it was time to journey onwards to Nanjing. The train sped me away, and I found myself consumed by the rhythm of travel once more. Gazing out of my window, I watched the landscapes shift from urban chaos to sprawling rural beauty, my thoughts reverting to the stories waiting to be uncorked in my next destination. As I stepped off the train in Nanjing, a brisk spring breeze greeted me, a promise of awakening and exploration. My first stop, the Ming Shaoling Mausoleum, took my breath away. Wandering through the grand archways and stone paths, I immersed myself in whispers of the past, pondering the royal lives that once tread before me. I felt a deep connection with the ground beneath, as if the stones held the secrets of those who ventured before me, leaving behind echoes still resonating with hope. Nanjing's bustling streets offered another layer of depth. I sampled local street food, savoring the rich flavors of the region while chatting up the friendly vendors. Each laugh shared weaving ties of connection that only travel could ignite. I explored the vivid contrast of tradition meeting modernity, the architecture reflecting both beauty and resilience. Then came my visit to the Nanjing Massacre Memorial. Walking through the exhibits, absorbing the stories and images that laid bare the hurt of humanity, I understood that acknowledging pain is an integral part of healing. It was a sobering reminder of history, resultant internal struggles finding resonance within me. Empathy washed over me, a deep-rooted respect for those who endured. Every moment, each encounter, was a stitch in the fabric of my journey, binding experiences that would last a lifetime. As I concluded my adventures in Hangzhou and Nanjing, my heart felt fuller, enlightened by the paths woven through the past, and inspired by the endless possibilities of the future. While doubts had once clouded my decisions, I emerged with newfound clarity and resolve. Travel was not just an escape. It was a means to grapple with my own narratives, a form of meditative exploration of the broader human experience. This journey mattered not just to me, but to everyone whose histories resonate through the cultures I had explored. And so, with each step I took, I promised myself to continue seeking adventures, embracing both the marvels and the memories, to be an ever-evolving tapestry of stories, woven together through the adventures yet to come. As I stepped off the plane in Hangzhou, China, the overwhelming wave of emotions hit me like a tidal wave. The air was thick with a blend of excitement and anxiety, and my heart raced with each step I took toward the arrival terminal. This was my first journey to Asia, and the bustling energy of this city filled me with both fear and euphoria. My first steps into the airport were marked by a chorus of unfamiliar sounds and sights. The announcements in Mandarin resonated around me, and I felt the vibrant energy of the crowd. The fear of being lost in translation crept in, but it was quickly overshadowed by a rush of exhilaration. I was in a new world, far from home, and everything felt alive with possibility. Once outside, I was greeted by the intoxicating scent of street food mingling with the sweet aroma of flowers that lined the pathways. As I stepped into the chaotic rhythm of traffic and pedestrians, my heart raced with both excitement and trepidation. The sight of towering skyscrapers juxtaposed with ancient temples created a beautiful tapestry that was both inspiring and intimidating. My mind swirled with doubts. Could I navigate this unfamiliar place? Would I find the things I sought? But each passing moment brought a new sense of clarity, a realization that adventure lay ahead. I decided to immerse myself in the sights, sounds, and colors of Hangzhou. My first stop was the West Lake, a stunning expanse of water surrounded by lush gardens and ancient architecture. As I walked along the pathways lined with willows, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. The beauty of the lake, with its misty surroundings, inspired me to take a moment to reflect on my journey. I breathed in the fresh air, feeling the tension melt away as I absorbed the scenery around me. However, as I continued exploring, the initial euphoria began to ebb, giving way to moments of solitude and introspection. I looked around at the groups of travelers and locals chatting in a language I didn't understand. I began to feel a sense of longing. Moments of doubt crept back in, whispering insecurities about my choice to travel alone in a foreign land. The bustling streets felt both enchanting and isolating. I reminded myself that these feelings were part of the journey, a mix of exhilaration and fear, and I was determined to push through. With every corner I turned, new adventures awaited. The rich culture enveloped me, and I was inspired by the stories of the people I met and the history around me. I ventured into a local market, where vibrant colors and tantalizing aromas pulled me in. The merchants were friendly, and as I stumbled through simple exchanges, I felt a sense of triumph in every small interaction. The fear of making mistakes slowly transformed into a joyful acceptance of the unknown, as I embraced the beauty of connection despite language barriers. In the heart of the city, I visited the Lingyin Temple, a serene sanctuary nestled among the mountains. The tranquility of the place wrapped around me like a comforting blanket. Standing before the ancient sculptures, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for this experience. The doubts faded as I absorbed the history that resonated in the air, reminding me of the greater journey that lay ahead. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over Hangzhou, I felt a sense of fulfillment wash over me. The mix of fear and euphoria had transformed into something deeper, a realization that I was capable of embracing new experiences. I started to walk back towards my accommodation, feeling more vibrant and alive. Each step echoed the harmony of my emotions, a blend of excitement, inspiration, and reflection. With my heart full of new stories, I prepared to move on to my next destination, Nanjing, China. I carried with me the lessons learned during my time in Hangzhou, the beauty of fear, the joy of connection, and the importance of embracing uncertainty. I was ready to continue my journey, eager for what lay ahead and confident in my ability to navigate this vast and stunning world. As I stepped off the train in Hangzhou, my senses were immediately bombarded by an explosion of unfamiliar sounds and vibrant scents. The air was thick with the sweet aroma of roasted chestnuts and the pungent notes of stir-fried vegetables wafting from nearby food stalls. The chatter of the crowd buzzed around me, a symphony of voices that I could scarcely understand. I felt an exhilarating thrill mixed with a tinge of apprehension. This was my first foray into a culture so rich and different from my own. Navigating through the bustling streets, I marveled at the intricate architecture of ancient buildings juxtaposed against modern skyscrapers. Hangzhou was a tapestry of history and progression, and I was but a thread in its vibrant fabric. Each street corner revealed a new facet of life. Elderly couples playing chess under the shade of a willow tree, children laughing as they chased each other, and vendors energetically calling out to potential customers. I was both an observer and a participant in this living tableau. As I settled into my journey, I began to explore the local cuisine. The first bowl of hot, fragrant noodles I tried was a game changer. The blend of spices danced on my palate, and I was intoxicated by the layers of flavor. But it wasn't all a smooth ride. I stumbled through the process of ordering food, gesturing wildly and relying on the limited phrases I'd learned prior to my arrival. The friendly smiles of the locals helped me overcome my initial embarrassment, and soon, the barriers began to dissolve. With each meal, I gained confidence, navigating menu items with increasing ease. Moving to Nanjing, I experienced a deeper immersion in local traditions. The second I stepped into the ancient city walls, I felt the weight of history pressing against me. I visited the Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum, where the monumental steps symbolized both physical and metaphorical elevation. However, witnessing the solemnity of clear grave sites also evoked a sense of solitude. Surrounded by large families, I realized how alone I felt in this vast sea of humanity. My attempts to connect were met with warmth, but the depth of communication often escaped me. Adapting to the rhythm of life in Nanjing involved embracing its contrasts. One moment I was lost in the clang of temple bells, and the next I was enveloped in the silence of a pagoda's shadow. I took to wandering through local markets, where vibrant hues of fresh produce blended beautifully with the earthy tones of handmade crafts. I found solace amid aisle after aisle of unfamiliar goods, and the colorful displays sparked my curiosity. Despite the allure, I often found myself wrestling with doubts, particularly when confronted with the language barrier. I remember a day when I desperately needed help finding a bus to a remote temple. My heart raced as I approached a group of people. My limited vocabulary could barely convey my inquiry, and their puzzled expressions sent a jolt of anxiety through me. After a failed attempt, I paused, inhaling deeply as I noticed a glimmer of understanding in their eyes. Eventually, with the help of a kind student who spoke a few words of English, we managed to communicate through a mixture of gestures and laughter. With every challenge I faced, a resilience grew within me. I learned to embrace moments of confusion as part of the adventure, as each misstep revealed a fascinating story. After overcoming a particularly trying language mix-up, I found extraordinary joy in sharing a moment of cultural exchange with a grilled fish vendor, where a friendly smile and thumb up replaced words. As days turned into weeks, my connection with the culture deepened. I began to appreciate the intricacies of daily life, like the tranquility of an afternoon tea ceremony, where time seemed to pause as flavors steeped and friendships bloomed. I developed a tender melancholy as I observed how communities gathered for evening strolls, their camaraderie reminding me of home while simultaneously highlighting my own solitude. Adjusting to this new reality, I discovered the importance of stepping out of my comfort zone. Each encounter transformed me, teaching me to embrace my vulnerabilities. My world expanded through interactions that bridged the gap between cultures, propelled by an inherent human desire for connection. Each smile, each shared moment, allowed me to peel away the layers of loneliness that lingered like a shadow. By the time my journey was nearing its close, I had come to see both Hangzhou and Nanjing as more than just cities. They were living entities, pulsating with life and stories yearning to be shared. I carried their essence with me, woven into the fabric of my experiences, marking the journey of a traveler evolving amidst the vast complexities of humanity. Every sound, every flavor, every smile had etched themselves into my memory, reminding me that even in foreign lands, the threads of understanding and compassion connect us all, transcending barriers and forging bonds that linger long after the journey ends. That I recently took a trip to China, with two cities on my itinerary, Hangzhou and Nanjing. Both cities are rich in history and boast unique cultural landmarks that made my experience unforgettable. In Hangzhou, the first place I decided to explore was West Lake, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was early morning when I arrived, with the sun slowly rising, casting a warm glow over the lake. The serenity of the water, surrounded by lush greenery and ancient pagodas, was like stepping into a painting. I walked along the Sioux Causeway, which stretches across the lake, and I could see the mist lifting over the hills in the distance. My senses were awakened by the sound of birds chirping and the gentle lapping of the water against the shore. Next, I visited the Lingyin Temple, one of the largest and most important Buddhist temples in China. The temple is tucked away in the mountains, and the path leading to it was lined with ancient trees, creating a peaceful atmosphere. The intricate carvings and stunning architecture of the temple were breathtaking. I spent time in the courtyard, where I saw monks performing their daily rituals. The air was filled with the scent of incense, and I took a moment to reflect and absorb the tranquility. The next stop on my journey was the Sisi wetland, where I embraced a different side of Hangzhou. As I paddled in a traditional wooden boat, I was enveloped by the sounds of nature. The wetlands are home to various birds and plants, making it a perfect spot for a serene getaway. I glided through the waterways, admiring the willow trees that draped gracefully over the banks. It was such a peaceful experience, contrasting the vibrant energy of the city itself. In the bustling streets of Hangzhou, I stumbled upon the Hafang Street, a lively pedestrian area filled with shops, food stalls, and traditional medicine shops. The architecture reflected a blend of ancient Chinese and modern influences. I couldn't resist trying some local snacks, like the sweet and savory rice dumplings and the famous Hangzhou-style noodles. The atmosphere was electric, with locals and tourists mingling, vendors calling out to potential customers, and the irresistible scent of street food filling the air. After a few unforgettable days in Hangzhou, I made my way to Nanjing. The moment I arrived, I was struck by the historical depth of the city. My first visit was to the Nanjing Massacre Memorial Hall, a poignant reminder of the city's turbulent past. The memorial is somber yet beautifully designed, with an emphasis on remembrance and reflection. Walking through the exhibits and seeing the photographs was a powerful experience that left a lasting impact on me. Another highlight was the impressive Ming Shaoling Mausoleum, which is the tomb of the first Ming Dynasty emperor. The approach to the mausoleum is grand, with its sacred way lined with stone statues of animals and officials. As I walked up the stairs towards the tomb, I couldn't help but admire the intricate design and lush surroundings that made it feel both sacred and serene. The panoramic view from the top was stunning, giving me a sense of the historical significance of the site. I also visited the famous Confucius Temple area, where the combination of culture, history, and scenic views created an enchanting atmosphere. The essence of Nanjing's cultural heritage was evident here. I strolled through the ancient alleyways filled with crafts vendors and tea houses. The beautiful Qinhuai River ran along the edge of the temple, and I took a moment to enjoy a boat ride, soaking in the views of the sunset reflecting off the water. In Nanjing, I also found time to visit the Yangtze River Bridge, an engineering marvel that showcases the city's connection to the mighty river. Standing on the bridge, watching the boats pass beneath, I was reminded of the vastness of China and its complex history intertwined with the natural landscape. In conclusion, my travels through Hangzhou and Nanjing were nothing short of spectacular. Each location I visited offered a unique glimpse into China's heritage and natural beauty. The blend of history, culture, and nature made my experiences rich and meaningful, allowing me to connect with the essence of these remarkable cities. I returned home with a heart full of memories and a mind eager to explore more of this incredible country. The sun began to set as I stepped outside, the warm orange hues painting the sky. I felt both exhilarated and anxious about my journey ahead. I had always loved the idea of traveling and exploring new places, but little did I know that this adventure would take me through a whirlwind of emotions and experiences. The first challenge came with transportation. I had decided to take the bus to the next town, a decision that seemed straightforward at first. However, when I arrived at the station, I realized it was more chaotic than I anticipated. The bus schedules seemed to change every few minutes, and the frantic announcements blended with the noise of people rushing to catch their rides. I felt overwhelmed, standing there with my suitcase, struggling to figure out what bus to take. The thought of taking the wrong one sent a wave of panic through me. I took a deep breath and approached a friendly-looking woman, whose warm smile eased my anxiety. She kindly pointed me in the right direction, and just like that, I was back on track. As I sat on the bus, the world outside the window transformed into a blur of colors and shapes. During the ride, I met a fellow traveler, Sarah, who shared my enthusiasm for adventure. We struck up a conversation that flowed effortlessly. It felt like we had known each other for years. She told me stories of her travels, her laughter resonating throughout the bus. I felt an instant connection with her, a comforting reminder that even in the midst of chaos, there are kindred spirits waiting to be discovered. However, the journey took an unexpected turn when the bus broke down on an isolated stretch of road. The driver tried to maintain calm, but there was a collective sigh of frustration from the passengers. As minutes turned into an hour, I felt a wave of despair wash over me. This wasn't how I envisioned my adventure unfolding. Visions of missing important connections and being stranded flooded my mind. I almost wanted to give up, but then I looked over at Sarah, who was telling a funny story to keep spirits high. Her laughter was contagious, lightening the mood even in our predicament. Eventually, a replacement bus arrived, and we collectively cheered as we boarded. In that moment of uncertainty, I realized that setbacks often pave the way for new friendships and unexpected moments of joy. We continued our journey, excited chatter filling the space as we shared snacks and travel tales. By the time we reached our destination, I felt a renewed sense of hope. In the new town, the streets were vibrant with life. I wandered through bustling markets and quaint cafes, each corner holding a new surprise. However, as night fell, I started to feel the creeping unease of being in an unfamiliar place. A feeling of vulnerability washed over me. I remembered the warnings I had received about travel safety, and my instincts kicked in. I chose to remain cautious while still wanting to explore. One evening, I decided to take a stroll in the nearby park, the moonlight casting a serene glow. Just as I turned a corner, I encountered a group of locals. Their laughter drew me in, and despite my reservations, I couldn't help but approach them. They welcomed me with open arms, inviting me to join their gathering. This sudden act of kindness dispelled the tension I had been holding. We shared stories, music, and laughter late into the night. This unexpected encounter transformed my worries into a sense of belonging. Yet, not all experiences were easy. I faced moments where I felt isolated, amidst crowds of people who spoke a different language, and it made me feel small. One night, after another long day of exploration, I found myself alone in my small hotel room, grappling with feelings of loneliness. I wanted to share my experiences with someone, but I felt disconnected from my surroundings. My thoughts raced as I questioned whether I was capable of handling this adventure. Just as tears began to form, I received a message from Sarah. She suggested we meet up the next day, and that simple act of reaching out rekindled my spirit. The next morning, our meeting was filled with excitement. We spent hours exploring together, our laughter echoing through the streets. Sarah's perspective on travel, embracing every moment, the good and the bad, resonated with me deeply. She reminded me that it's okay to feel lost at times, but that those moments often lead us to find ourselves again. As our time together unfolded, I learned not only about the cities we explored, but also about resilience, friendship, and the beauty of human connection. Each encounter brought new challenges, whether it was navigating public transport or facing moments of doubt. Yet each hurdle was met with newfound strength. Through unexpected difficulties, I had gained friendships that turned strangers into cherished companions. When it was finally time to say goodbye, I felt a bittersweet pang in my heart. The experience had transformed me, guiding me through a landscape of emotions, pushing me to confront my fears and embrace the joys. I knew that this adventure would linger with me, a collection of memories that spanned laughter, tears, and everything in between. As I boarded my bus home, I took one last look at the place that had embraced me. My heart swelled with gratitude, not just for the travels or the sights I had seen, but for the lessons learned and the connections made along the way. Each journey might come with its obstacles, but within those trials lay the essence of true adventure, discovering not only the world around me, but also the depths of my own spirit. I smiled to myself, looking forward to wherever my feet would take me next. In the bustling streets of Hangzhou, the air was thick with the mingling scents of street food and the sweet aroma of fresh tea. I remember stepping onto the shores of West Lake, a place so stunning that it felt surreal. The gentle ripples of the water sparkled like diamonds under the sun, and the distant pagodas seemed to whisper secrets of 1,000 years. Each step I took filled me with wonder. I decided to take a boat ride across the lake, hoping to capture the serenity of my surroundings in photographs. However, as the boat glided away from the shore, I heard a commotion behind me. A local vendor was shouting angrily, gesturing toward the lake. Curiosity piqued. I turned to see a group of people gathered at the water's edge, their faces etched with concern. As I approached, a boy, no older than 10, was frantically splashing in the lake. It seemed he had inadvertently dropped something valuable into the water, and now, desperation painted his face. It didn't take long for the crowd to thicken, each person murmuring their opinions, but none of them daring to leap into the lake. In that moment, I felt an unexpected urge to help. Without thinking, I took off my shoes, rolled up my pants, and plunged into the cool water. The shock sent a jolt through my body, but I pushed through, searching for whatever the boy had lost. As I dove deeper, the murky water played tricks on my vision, but I felt a sense of determination wash over me. After several moments of searching, I finally reached down and found a small, glimmering object at the bottom. It was a small silver pendant, engraved with intricate patterns. As I surfaced, gasping for air, I held it up triumphantly for the boy. His face lit up with joy, and I felt a rush of satisfaction. But the adventure was far from over. The boy, now smiling ear to ear, introduced himself as Lou. He insisted on taking me to his home to thank me properly. Navigating through the narrow alleys of Hangzhou, I followed him to a modest house filled with the delightful aroma of home-cooked meals. Lou's family welcomed me warmly, and we shared stories over a hearty meal. They showed me the culture of their region, and in return, I shared tales of my life back in the States. In those moments, I discovered a connection that transcended language and cultural barriers. The kindness and hospitality of Lu's family opened my eyes to the beauty of human connection, reminding me that we are all linked by threads of empathy and kindness. After days in Hangzhou filled with delightful experiences, I took a train to Nanjing, another city steeped in history and culture. The vibrant streets were alive with energy, and I was eager to explore. One evening, I found myself wandering through the ancient city walls of Nanjing, captivated by the blend of history and contemporary life surrounding me. However, as night fell, I got lost in the labyrinth of the old city. The streets were eerily quiet, and a sense of unease began to creep in. Just as panic was about to set in, I stumbled upon a small tea house glowing softly in the distance. The warm light drew me in, and I entered, hoping to find solace. Inside, an elderly woman was serving tea to a handful of customers. Her warm smile instantly put me at ease, and as I ordered a cup, she began to share stories of the history of Nanjing and its significance over the centuries. Intrigued, I listened intently, captivated by tales of valor and resilience. As we spoke, she suddenly revealed that she was not just a tea seller but a keeper of ancient wisdom. She believed that everyone has a journey that leads to a transformative moment, and she sensed mine was unfolding. She instructed me to look for a hidden door concealed within the walls of the city that would lead me to a significant discovery. Intrigued, I asked her how I would know when I found it. "Trust your heart," she said with a knowing smile. "It will guide you." With that cryptic advice echoing in my mind, I continued exploring the city. As the night deepened, I felt an inexplicable pull towards a less traveled alley. It felt as if the city was alive, guiding my steps. Eventually, I found a small, unassuming door nestled between two towering buildings, almost hidden from view. I hesitated but remembered the elderly woman's words. Taking a deep breath, I pushed the door open, stepping into darkness. The air was thick with mystery, and I felt a hesitant excitement wash over me. As I moved deeper inside, the light slowly emerged, illuminating a breathtaking gallery of artwork and artifacts, all echoing the stories of the past. However, what caught my eye was a painting that seemed out of place amidst the historical pieces. It depicted a young boy who looked strikingly familiar. Next to it was a caption that read, "The Boy of West Lake, a Guardian of Kindness." I stood frozen in shock, realizing that it was Lu, the boy from Hangzhou, immortalized through art. The revelation hit me hard. The pendant I retrieved for him held not just sentimental value, but was part of the lore of the Guardian, a symbol of hope and kindness passed through generations. My heart raced as I pieced together the threads of fate connecting my adventure on both shores. I left the gallery, my mind racing with thoughts. The journey was much more than just a series of travels. It was a reminder of our shared humanity and the impact of kindness. As I prepared to leave Nanjing, I made a decision that would change my life forever. Inspired by my experiences, I vowed to dedicate my next journey to seeking out stories and sharing them. I wanted to uncover the hidden kindnesses in the world, those little moments that transform lives. With my heart set on this new mission, I booked my next flight, determined to visit new cities and meet new people. But first, I found myself contemplating where to begin. The compass of my heart pointed towards Southeast Asia, a region rich in culture and stories waiting to be told. My next adventure awaited, an unknown journey where I discover hidden kindnesses and perhaps, in unpredictable ways, change the lives of others, just as Lu changed mine.